when we look at the myths of self-compassion, sometimes we talk about the myths of compassion is weak, or self-compassion means I'm selfish, or it means I'm going to just take everything and not stand up for myself, or it means I won't be motivated. Compassion, we treat others often with compassion. We treat others with kindness when they're suffering. But we don't give ourselves that same kindness. So we're hard on ourselves. We have an inner critical voice that we may have internalized from society, from how we are seen in society, how maybe what we experienced in our families, how we were treated as young people amongst perhaps parents who didn't really know how to act in this way, how to behave in this way. They were just struggling to survive, perhaps. And so we don't realize that we can offer this to ourselves. And research has actually found that when we are compassionate towards ourselves as well as towards others, we actually can make mistakes and fail and not beat ourselves up about it, not activate that critical voice as much. And that means we will try again. That means we will actually eventually succeed. So failure is not the end of the world. Mistakes are not the end of the world. We also admit to our faults, and we recognize that we're human and we're interconnected with other human beings. So Thich Nhat Hanh teaches about this as well. He talks about interbeing, and that's the Thich Nhat Hanh and Plum Village community is another community that's influenced me a lot. And they don't explicitly talk about compassion. They talk about mindfulness in everyday life and engaged mindfulness, engaged Buddhism. And that is compassion in action, an ethical conduct, doing and saying things that we can actually believe in and we feel good about, and we know are kind and respectful towards other human beings. This is compassion in action. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it is. It is, and actually, you already went to the topic we have, the second topic we have, which is compassion and self-compassion. And that's great. That's great because I think this is the place where people very often don't, how to say, they don't, they believe that they are compassionate, but as you said, they are compassionate towards others, not towards themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a big key here because what would be my question here is not like maybe make the distinction, but how do you see, is there some way people can really understand the difference of being compassionate towards others than themselves, or other way around? Can you share something around this? I hope you understand what I mean by that. So just because I think this is a big confusion for people, but people say I'm compassionate, but no, there is something you're missing. As you said, you are missing something there. So how can you distinguish these two, in a way?
Yeah, so one way is by asking the question, how would you treat a friend if they are suffering? What words would you use? What tone of voice? What gestures, body language, and so on? If your friend comes to you and says, I made a mistake, I failed, I did something wrong, and I feel badly about it, I feel very guilty, what would you say to your friend? Contrasted with when you make a mistake, what do you say to yourself? How do you treat yourself? Because often we operate under these negative core beliefs that we have developed from a very young age. I'm wrong, I'm bad, there's something unlovable about me, I'm not worthy, these kinds of negative core beliefs. And these also come as messages from society, and from certain environments we've been in often. And they can be unconscious, sort of under the surface. We don't even know they're there. And so in order to start to see ourselves as full, capable human beings with agency, self-compassion can really help with that. We can recover from mistakes. We can maybe learn how to access our inner compassionate voices, and also to befriend our inner critic, because it's trying to keep us safe. So in our efforts to be part of the tribe, to not be abandoned by family, society, friends, we try to keep ourselves contained in a particular way. And we are very hard on ourselves. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We motivate ourselves with fear. And fear activates our nervous system, our autonomic nervous system. We go into fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Yeah.
When there is fear, a fear of how I'm going to be seen in society, fear of being ostracized. And that impacts our view of ourselves. Whereas if we approach ourselves with compassion, with kindness, first it's recognizing suffering is here. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling unhappy. I'm feeling guilty or afraid. Just recognizing that, that's mindfulness. And then we go to, I'm human. You know, I know my friends go through this. I know others in my community go through this. I am only human. So, and then the next step is kindness. Well, how can I be kind to myself? How can I approach myself as I would approach others when they are struggling?
Yeah.
And when we learn that we are actually being hard on ourselves, we start to recognize that, and we're kinder to ourselves. That makes all the difference.
Absolutely. There is this part of common humanity, which was for me the very important part, because when we're in these moments of suffering, as you say, or moments of failure, suffering, but especially I'm just talking about failure because it's often when we are in these moments, we believe that we are alone, right? We believe that's the only us who had in fault or something. We don't do something in the right way, or we make mistakes, and the part of common humanity is really helping us to realize that that's not true. All of us are in that. Every single day we feel like this, maybe for a small amount or big amount of time. It depends of what happens during the day, but this is very